Welcome to Artificial Breakdown, live at Inventures 2025. Let's get innovative.
Hello, welcome to Artificial Breakdown. We're at Inventures. We are interviewing Mohammad Keyhani, and he is the director of the DBA program at the Haskayne School of Business at U of C, and an associate professor in entrepreneurship and innovation, and all sorts of other things by the sounds of it. So we're very excited to have you on.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's exciting to be live at Inventures. This is new for us. So, this is a little bit of an experiment to see how all the mics and everything work inside this room, but it is kind of fun. So, Mohammed, it might be great just to get a little bit of your background and kind of what led you to this moment here.
Yeah, and I'm a business professor at the University of Calgary. Always kind of wanted to be a software engineer, but life didn't take me into that path. But sort of had the nerdy inclinations toward coding and software and technology all my life, even as a business professor. So when I started my job as an entrepreneurship professor, I was teaching courses on just general entrepreneurship, startups, business planning, like most business schools have. But then I realized that there may be an opportunity to sort of merge my love for technology with the kind of entrepreneurship courses that we were teaching at the business school. So I started developing unique courses, and it helped that at some point I was area chair in entrepreneurship for our school. So I sort of I got to schedule myself into courses that I like. But I started merging it with technology, and we created courses called things like entrepreneurship technology, technology for entrepreneurs, technologies of innovation, and more recently, a dedicated generative AI and prompting course that I've developed. So these sort of more like technology oriented entrepreneurship courses really helped me merge my two loves, entrepreneurship and technology, and provide some really cool learning experiences to our students. They also sort of helped me build. I love building software, but I never had the time to sort of become a full software engineer, as you might describe, like someone who got a degree or built a career around software engineering. Not like that, but I could describe myself as like an indie hacker, like someone who just builds on whatever they can to put together a software solution for something. So doing that, I got familiar with no-code tools, and that was one of the reasons I brought in, because when you build with no-code tools, you're liberated from having to have that technology background. A lot of our business students are like that. They have good ideas. They want to work on projects. They often feel like there's a bottleneck. I sometimes call it the tyranny of the technical co-founder. That like they're waiting and waiting for that magical technical co-founder to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that technical co-founder has opportunity costs, has other things they want to work on, and um, it happens sometimes that you can team up with a technical co-founder, but more often than not, they just get bottlenecked and ideas die in that waiting period. So yeah, figuring out that no, you can do it yourself. There are tools you can do. It started with no code for me, and now with AI coding and all the AI tools available, even more liberated. I feel like everyone can just build right now. Building is no longer a bottleneck. There are still lots of bottlenecks in entrepreneurship, lots of hard things to do. But sort of building that first thing, even going to full production app is not hard with, not I shouldn't say not hard, not impossible with the tools available.
What are some examples like? Because I've seen AI app builders out in the market and site builders, prototypes, all those types of things. Are they as robust as they look, or are they still early days? Like, is it proof of concept, or can you get, like you mentioned, like, can you get your actual product complete
Yeah.
in this way?
You got to put in the time and effort to do it. There are some no code builders that are really mostly just good for prototypes. But take something like bubble.io, for example, like the leading edge full stack no code builder, Bubble. There have been multiple multi-million dollar companies built with Bubble
Wow.
by now. And so it's not just a game anymore. It's not just for prototypes. Like, it's a serious tool. And there is a serious ecosystem of Bubble developers, Bubble consultants, agencies, studios that build with Bubble. So you can do serious things with it. Same with AI coding. A lot of people are just putting together little demos and prototypes. But it's possible to sit down and build production apps. A lot of Y Combinator startups are saying on Twitter publicly that they are mostly AI coding right now. And the details of the code, I've heard one founder call them just implementation details we no longer need to worry about.
Wow.
Right.
That's the kind of thing that's going on.
That's just it's heck over here.
Yeah.
I had my own experience, so I've been building lots of the different prototypes and stuff, but there was one tool that I really wanted to build that was pretty sophisticated. And I tried at one point in around 2020 when COVID hit. That was when a lot of people got to know no code and Bubble specifically. Like, when they show their growth charts, they hit the growth in a COVID era. A lot of people had some free time to sit down and build stuff during COVID. And I was one of them. So I wanted to build this thing that I wanted to build, which is a list curation platform. Now, if you have a minute, I want to tell you the story of why I wanted to build a list curation platform, because it's a pretty cool story. So back when I started my job as an entrepreneurship professor in 2013, again, with my love for technology, I started collecting a list of tools, software tools that entrepreneurs could use, and basically as a learning resource for my students in class.
Right.
So the list started getting longer and longer, and I was looking for a way to publish it in a nice, presentable format on the internet that I could give my students. Back then, Airtable, Notion, the kind of tools that people use to publish lists these days weren't available or weren't very popular. I tried looking for a couple of years, and then in 2016, I found an interesting tool. It was a list curation platform. Somebody had made, a Dutch company, a Dutch startup, had made a tool specifically just to publish lists and get crowdsourced suggestions for what to put on the list, and see how many people have sort of liked items on your list, or just manage a nice categorized list that you could present in one page. And the amount of items that you could present in one page was really impressive, because it had these expandable categories that, showed like 5 items that you could press show more and it would expand. It was a really nice, presentable way of showing someone a comprehensive list of resources. I thought, yeah, that's the tool I need. So in 2016, the tool is called Zeef, Zeef. I actually published my curated list of entrepreneurship tools, like all the different tools for entrepreneurs. And I meant it as just a resource for my students, but I went to sleep one day and woke up and realized that I'm getting my 15 minutes of fame on the internet.
Oh, no way.
It had gone viral. People around the world were looking at my list, emailing me, trying to call me to say, like, why is our startup not on your list? It was a crazy thing. We tried to figure out, how does this go viral? And I realized that apparently some major influencer had shared it on their private Slack channel. And then somebody on that Slack channel had taken my list and put it on Product Hunt. Product Hunt is a major forum for startups. Startups had Product Hunt launch strategies. That's how important it is to do a good launch on Product Hunt. And I was not aware, because most people just publish their own product and product hunt. They have a launch strategy. But product hunt essentially lets other people post your product as well. And sometimes that can happen when you're not ready. And when I both
That just gave me anxiety. Yeah. I can imagine somebody doing that.
yeah, someone posted my list on Product Hunt. And of course, because all the Product Hunt people love discovering new tools and new startups, that's their whole community. My list went viral on Product Hunt. It got more than 1,500 upvotes, which is like what startups dream of getting. And I was not prepared for it. I did not monetize that popularity at all. I failed to take any monetary advantage of that. But probably Zeef, the company that had hosted the list, probably got some ad revenue out of that virality. But anyways, Zeef was unable ultimately in the next few years following that in 2016, Zeef was unable to create a sustainable business model out of that, especially since they had raised venture capital money. And if you raise venture capital money, you have to like show the return on investment. And that business model was not doing it, just like a list curation platform. But I, as a power user of Zeef, I had one of the popular lists on Zeef, wanted a product like that. I wanted my list to be up there. I knew lots of people were referencing that list. I was keeping it updated. But yeah, around 2020, I realized that the company is sort of going bankrupt. It's not clear how much longer my list is going to be up there. So I wanted to build my own Zeef alternative. And I started building with Bubble. And it really excited me because in a matter of like a couple of months, I was able to build like 80% of a Zeef alternative. Actually, it even had more features than Zeef that I needed as a user. So I built those with Bubble, and it was amazing to me that I could do it all by myself, no co-founders, venture capital money. Like Zeef had 10 software developers and venture capital money, and I didn't have any of that, but I was able to build it with Bubble. The only problem was that it didn't look great. The design skills that you need to build something nice looking with Bubble is still a bottleneck for a non-developer, designer person like me. I actually, at one point, I hired a professional designer who's one of the best Bubble developers as well. Her name is Carrie, and I hired her to serve as a freelancer to come in and redesign one page in my app, just so I could see a professional designer. What would it look?
What would it look like? Yeah.
It looked much better.
They tend to do that. I've noticed that too.
Professionals, yeah. It looked much better than what I had, and I realized, oh man, if I was a professional designer, I could have built this much nicer. Anyways, I got 80% of the way there, but ultimately didn't launch it. Another reason I didn't launch it was that Bubble suddenly changed their pricing model, and the kind of app I was building would become expensive to host on Bubble. So I moved away from that. Now, fast forward, so that was 2020, almost launched it, didn't quite get there. In 2025, just this year, after like 2 years of being involved with AI, following the AI news and everything, I realized around the end of 2024, beginning of 2025, that the AI coder tools like Cursor and Replit are getting good enough that you can actually build good quality products and maybe production, well, not just prototypes. So I first did an experiment, I think around late 2024. I built a game app. It's on Android Marketplace now. I'm formally an Android developer, even though I didn't no idea how to build Android apps. I built one with Cursor and Replit, and ultimately was able to publish it on the Android Marketplace. It's a little game called Matchbeat that you can Matchbeat.
Oh, Matchbeat.
Like it's a little cognitive stretch game where you like try to exercise your muscles matching cards at different
I love puzzles.
the criteria.
That's good stuff.
And so, I've never used those tools. Are they prompt based? Like, is that how you're building it, or are you actually?
You prompt, it gives you code, uh, and it takes care of some of the process. So when ChatGPT initially was able to produce code,
Right.
people started copy pasting that code into coding environments like VS Code, or GitHub Copilot would just do it, generate the code right in your coding environment. That was the first thing that people were doing. But you still had to manage some things. Like if you had an existing code and you asked for an edit, and then it gave you another piece of code, you had to figure out, okay, where does this go in my previous code, and how do I manage that? How do I change what is dependent on this code now? And so these AI coding tools started to realize that an additional layer of software is needed to take care of those things that ChatGPT just won't do on its own.
Right.
So then people started building things like Cursor, Windsurf, Bolt.new, Lovable.dev, all of these AI coding tools. Your favorite one is Replit, because it takes care of a whole bunch of things. I've tried many of them. Replit takes care of a whole bunch of things for me as a non-coder that some of the other ones don't. And they sort of rely on you still having some software engineering knowledge, for example, to manage the link between the software and the database, for example, and that I just didn't want to handle. I did learn a lot about as I was AI coding, but I still found it too complicated to handle as a non-software engineer.
Yeah, well, it's better than teaching yourself to be a software engineer and a designer, a writer, and whatever else you.
Designer, good thing you mentioned that, because this time, remember my bottleneck last time was design, right? This time when I built with AI coding, the AI had design taste.
Yeah,
Wait, interesting. AI who codes for you is not just a functional programmer.
So, do you see this as the evolution of programming, or is there still a place for kind of the old hand bombing code into the console? Do you feel like this is the new norm?
It's definitely the new norm. But is there a role for traditional programming knowledge? I think to some extent, yes, definitely right now. But in the long term, I wonder if what we call programming today will just seem like what they call like lower level programming, like compiler code, that most programmers don't deal with that because they work at a higher level of abstraction. Those lower levels of abstraction have already been taken care of. That's already the case for programming. So we're just like doing that again, one more level of abstraction now.
Yeah.
Where ultimately in the future, I think most programmers may not have to worry about what we call code today. Maybe they'll be thinking at a higher level. But right now, if you are AI coding, it definitely helps if you are an actual programmer and can.
So yeah, that's like most things. Like if you're an expert in something, you're going to be able to ask AI to do something.
It's funny.
Pretty amazing one.
Had to learn a lot of the coding stuff that I didn't know, just trying to figure out how to fix the bugs.
Right. That's how you learn, right? It's like, I really want to get this thing done and I don't have a coder, so I guess I have to learn.
I find it similar. I'm a designer, so I find it easier. It's like with a design background to use design tools, even if they are doing most of the heavy lifting nowadays, right? Like it makes sense. I brought this up earlier, but I did want to ask you, just in general, the school's approach to AI. So you're still teaching, I'm assuming. And I've seen too, like I have my son's school, which I won't name, very anti-technology, right? Like there's tools when they're doing homework to make sure that they're not using GPT. There's no phones in the school allowed. I think it's surprising that they allow calculators. It's one of those types of mentalities where, there's my son kind of trying to learn this stuff on his own side. And it feels like this is probably going to be a big part of your life. And it feels like it's weird that you're having to learn this kind of big change in your life. I feel like the UFC has a bit of a broader spectrum of how they view technology and this kind of thing. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, University of Calgary, uh, like many other universities and colleges and even K-12 schools, is trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
There's a major shift that has happened, and it's kind of taken everyone off guard. Um, it's not easy to figure out how to respond. And generally, large institutions like this are difficult to move and difficult to get everyone to move fast.
Yeah.
So there's multiple things I think that need to be done in universities and how to respond. And I'm not sure if that all universities will get it right. And I'm not even sure if I'm right about what I think right now. I might take
Which is what I think is stopping a lot of people from
yeah.
making that decision. It's like, I can't be the one who's
Well,
right.
and it affects almost everything, right? Every course just about has some sort of AI infection to it.
One thing that I think I'm doing right, trying to now get students to the new edge of their capabilities.
Mm.
So if I can now build my list curation platform that I couldn't before, it's called Lister, by the way,
Is that out
lstr.cc.
there?
It's out there. It's launched
Yeah.
at lstr.cc. I built it. I launched it. I deployed it. Single person. Wow. I previously thought I couldn't, but now I can. I had to rethink my identity. I had to rethink who I am, what I can do, what I can't do. I realized that I am now a cyborg. I'm no longer human. My students, I tell them, you are now all cyborgs, whether you like it or not. And if any of the professors in other classes are still treating you like humans, they're doing it wrong. You're going to just breeze through their classes because you're cyborg sitting in a setting that was designed for humans. So that's one thing that I'm saying when professors tell me, like, how do I adapt my class to AI? One of the first things I ask them is, do you have any assignments that are not doable by humans, can only be done by cyborgs? Because your students are now superhuman. They're not just human. Do you have any assignment, even just one, that is not doable by pure human skills and capabilities? So you have to have that. That's one of the first things that universities need to adapt to, is to take students to this new edge of capability, which is the cyborg edge, not the human edge, because that's what businesses and industry is going to expect of that. We're already seeing statistics that new grads are finding it harder and harder to get jobs. A lot of employers are saying, before you hire, stop and ask, can AI do it? There's a lot of that going on, and that means our graduates are going to be less hireable if they are at the edge of human capabilities rather than the edge of cyborg capabilities. So the first thing I think that universities need to adapt to, is to realize that their task is now to take students to the edge of their cyborg capabilities, not just human capability.
I love that.
I do too. I really like that. It's like it's a very refreshing take, even though, somebody listening to this might be like, but like as people, we use these tools a lot, and I feel like that's what's done for me as a writer, is to be able to take me further in that. And that's what we are going to be looking for when we hire people. And you start learning that as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay. But now something that some of the AI doomers prefer, when I say what universities need to do, a lot of people are thinking of AI as this visceral reaction among some of the professors and even some students, that this is like some unholy thing that is sacrilegious or some sort of blasphemy, that it's just, it's not even like an app I don't like. It's kind of this weird reaction some people have, that it's just some violation of a sacred thing. And to some extent, I do agree that in some cases it's like that. You mentioned your child going to school, and I have a young son as well who's just learning the basics of math in elementary school. I don't want him to use calculators. Teachers don't let them use calculators at that age for that kind of thing. When you're learning 2 + 2, you don't use a calculator, just you learning it, right? And I think there is some role to be played there in universities as well. We have classes in university where the goal of the class is to learn basic calculus. But we also have classes in university where the goal of the class is to use spreadsheets, figure out how to use spreadsheets to do all the math. Um, and a similar thing is going to happen with AI assistants. There are going to be classes, like many of my classes, where the goal is to learn the AI, to use the AI to get to the edge of your capabilities. But you can't get to the edge of your capabilities if you don't have a prerequisite, which is just being able to use your own human capabilities really well. If you get into using a calculator too early or using the AI too early without having properly trained your own mental muscles, you're going to be like, like an untrained person trying to use an exoskeleton. Like they haven't really learned some machine. You're gonna get into it and you're probably gonna break everything and maybe for yourself.
I totally agree with
process.
It comes back to this idea too of like it's the common sense, it's the problem solvers, it's the people who have a good grasp on just being able to look at a situation and trying to find a solution. They're going to be the ones who do a good job at this. But if you just give somebody this tool and they don't have those skills of problem solving, for example, or critical thinking, then what are they going to do with it?
And again, going back, I don't want to pick on my son. One day he may actually listen to one of these, but when we were just getting going with ChatGPT, we were working on math, and there's two routes you could take, because there was just at the time when you could upload a picture. So he figured out you take a picture of the problem and stick it up. And what he was doing, which was good, he was trying to solve it, and then he would take a picture of all of that and put it up into ChatGPT and go, what am I doing wrong? Which was, I think, a really good way to do it, because it would actually go in and show him where he's going wrong. I think the wrong way would be just take a picture of it before he does anything and go solve this for me and make it look like me, right?
Make it look like
In order to get students to do that, to use it as a learning tool rather than just do the work for me kind of tool, one strategy that universities can do is to make it clear that the ultimate exam, the final exam, whatever it is going to be a no AI experience, AI banned. But during the course, have at it. Go try to use as much AI as you can to learn the material. And AI can be a very personalized tutor that in a way that your instructor may not have the time to pay personalized attention to you. But AI can do that and do it as much as you want.
Well, and it's going to do a lot better job of teaching my son how to factor trinomials than I can, right?
that just gave me PTSD. It's awful.
Well, I guess complicated, right? You're trying to remember this stuff as an adult, and it's like, man, I don't know. I'm trying to learn this stuff quickly so that I can teach you, but I'm probably, there's been times where I'm like, no, sorry, that's wrong. Forget I said follow that. Okay, let's try and figure it out together. And I'm like, this is not helping.
Yeah. So basically, that's the second thing I think universities should do: provide these structured learning environments where AI is bad when it needs to be banned, and not banned when it needs to be not banned. Because businesses, once you get out of university and you're in the workforce, nobody has time to say, okay, let's practice this without AI now. So you get better. Businesses are at the leading edge. We need to move on here.
They just want the results. They don't really care.
Well, yeah. But before they hire you, they would like to know that you've been trained somewhere where you have those skills.
Yeah.
Because now in this environment, you don't have time to wait for you to train your mental muscles without ChatGPT now. We're moving at the speed of the leading edge here. So that's why universities will, I think, have a role there in helping trade students without AI at some scenarios. And the third thing I think universities will need to adapt to that will be needed in the marketplace is verification, validation that you have certain skills. We kind of already have that role, but it's getting harder and harder for businesses to kind of know exactly what your capabilities are, because you are now this augment of human and AI. And it's very hard for them to tell, like, okay, how good are you really? Like, because it's getting like a messy landscape of AI and human capabilities, and it's becoming harder and harder to judge you in terms of your capabilities and your intelligence and things like that. And I think universities will have a role there to really be able to say, um, we did assessment in a way that would be hard for workplaces to do. We did assessment and we verified that this person has these capabilities. They've taken this course, they managed to pass that exam without AI. They can now also use AI really well. We tested that in another exam. Like the way that universities can verify someone's capabilities, I think, is still going to be very valuable in this environment. I think they should double down on having that role, because right now they're not. They're sometimes not great at it. It's sometimes hard to rely on a university certificate. I mean, there's so much variance between two people who may have the same degree from the same institution.
Right. Or somebody who doesn't even have that degree and they're all saying, oh, well, I'm a Gen AI expert.
Yeah.
That's like one person might just like have used, I used ChatGPT a couple times. I think I'm an expert. And somebody's like, no, I've studied it. I've used it. I've used it in a course where I wasn't allowed to use it. And then I got, I actually really have a good handle on it.
It's a good point, though. Yeah, just the evaluation is probably under the microscope now, too, just because is it a good assessment tool currently? And are there new things now that you need to assess? And are maybe some of the softer skills more important in some cases, because those are some of the like critical thinking and all these things that you're going to need now to really understand, like sifting through misinformation is now just a part of our life. It never was a problem back in the day. We got all the information we could get because there wasn't that much available. Now there's too much, and you have to kind of figure out what's real, what's not. And there's all this kind of stuff that just has changed. So yeah, I think this is maybe the best explanation I've ever heard on how education could potentially shift. That's amazing.
Yeah, because I live in that environment, I like many other people, worry about when I'm going to be replaced with AI. I actually asked my students in 2023, one of the questions I asked class was, raise your hand if you think you prefer an AI professor here instead of me in 5 years' time. So I had a few people raise their hand, and I kept increasing the number. In 10 years' time, 15 years' time, by the time I got to 20 years, almost everyone in class had their hand raised. So their estimate of when they think they prefer to have an AI professor completely replace me is about 20 years. So a lot of us professors are just counting how much time we have left to retire.
You're busy looking at your list F. Come on, get going.
But it's not just professors. In many professions, people have this anxiety about what's going to happen to our jobs. And our institutions, they're going to be a role left to play for my kind of job, my kind of company.
Yeah, because there is obviously this line that's really popular, and when people say like AI is not going to take your job, somebody who knows AI is going to take your job. But I feel like even that's quite fleeting now.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody who knows AI is probably going to have your job for a while.
Exactly.
And then AI is going to take your job.
That's a very good point. Yeah. So yeah, that we're kind of even those of us who feel like, okay, yeah, we got a handle on this, we're on top of the AI situation, can still maybe think about like the next 5 years, really. If we try to think of 10 years, 20 years, it's just so difficult to predict what it's going to be like.
And with so many tools and so many things growing exponentially, it's so hard to know what's going to happen in 5 years. They can all take so many different routes, and those alternate timelines are probably starting up. My sci-fi brain is, but yeah, it's already almost hard to imagine what a year from now is going to be. It's just wild.
Yeah. I talked about universities because I'm a university professor, but I also see similar dynamics playing out in K-12, where we got different schools approaching AI differently. There was just news recently about, I think, a Florida school going all in on like getting AI to teach the students. There's this new study that's come out of Nigeria saying that, just like a few hours of after school programming where AI tutored the students was as effective as like 2 years of school.
Wow. Well, and I saw, who was it? The United Arab Emirates have basically said all schools have to have some form of AI running.
Yeah, yeah. Some people are trying to force it from above, and I think it's good to have some impetus, some sort of a push, some sort of a carrot and a stick from above, I think. But in many cases, there is nothing from above. Schools are just trying to figure out what to do themselves. Sometimes it's about using the existing tools that are out there. Sometimes you need custom tools. That's one of the reasons I co-founded Uppbeat Logic, which is a company that we co-founded here in Calgary that is building AI tools for schools. We recently got covered by CBC News. It's pretty interesting. People are curious to see what schools are doing with AI. And so that this school, one of the things that we thought, okay, what are the custom things they need that you can't just go do with ChatGPT easily? And we worked with the teachers themselves. We sat down and sort of prototyped with them live. And because it's so easy to code these days, you can do that. My next goal is to get the teachers to build with Replit themselves and then maybe move it to the company products. But currently we're like sitting down and prototyping with them. And it's a really magical experience because a lot of schools have no experience building custom software. They don't even know that this is a thing you could do because that's mostly an enterprise thing. Like enterprises with much larger budgets engage in custom software development typically. But we're sort of trying to make it affordable for schools. And when teachers sit down with you and say, oh, we can actually like ask for that feature and then you can build it. And it's a pretty cool experience. So we worked with them to really figure out what they needed and what removed their pain points. And a couple of things that we've built is one is a lesson planning tool that works with their specific pedagogical philosophy that their school wants to follow. And another is a sort of a report card assistant where it helps them convert all their notes on students into a nice report for parents. And these two things, just these two things, take hours of work from teachers.
And outside of, that's like after hours work. But
yeah. And we always complain about our teachers not having enough time, being under-resourced. It's not about taking their jobs away, at least not yet. I don't know what's going to happen in 2080. But right now, what we're seeing is that with these tools, they are empowered, they are liberated, they can do better work, they can pay more attention to their students, can produce higher quality material and communication with parents. An interesting thing was this debate we had around the report card assistant was, should we put a disclaimer at the end where it says AI helped in the generation of this report? And one of the discussions we had was, no, we probably shouldn't do that because that would be an offloading of responsibility. And I tell my students that as well. You are ultimately responsible for the text that you produce. I will hold you accountable. I don't want you to tell me that you co-authored this with AI or AI helped you because I can't go hold the AI accountable. That's an offloading of responsibility. So ultimately, the teacher is responsible. They have to review what text has been produced and edited and make sure it is finally what they want to say in the way that they want to say it. If you put those sort of disclaimers in there that AI helped or whatever, it's kind of a sense of offloading of responsibility that I don't like. I think people should recognize how accountable they are for the text, even though AI helped create it. And that will help them or drive them to take it seriously.
I think that's a bit of a mind shift too. We talked about this. Is AI is tool, and it's just like you wouldn't say, "Hey, made using autocorrect," right? Like it's not it's not something you need to disclaim if it's coming if you believe everything you're right. Like I think
it's like if an investor says, "Hey, your numbers are wrong," we're like, "Oh, my spreadsheet did that." Right?
Or
We can't.
This human factor still needs to be there for sure.
yeah. All right. Well, Mohammad, thank you very much for coming on to the podcast. I think we'd let you get back to. Are you? What are you looking forward to for the rest of the couple of days here?
Well, I can only stay today. Tomorrow, I'm going to Edmonton for the Upper Bound conference.
Me too.
Speaking there for
Me too.
Friday. Actually, there I'm presenting in my role as the Honeybee Logic.
Are you? What time is that at?
I think it's around 2-3 in the afternoon. But next, I'm going to be co-presenting with the superintendent and principal at our first client school that we work with, the Connect Charter School. So that's going to be fun. But today in Inventures, I'm going to be speaking in my role as professor at Haskayne School of Business, having a sort of a fireside chat with Danielle Gifford, who is the director of AI at PwC. And we together, me and her, taught the two AI courses that were available in the MBA program this year in Haskayne. It was the first time we had actually 2 different AI courses that you could take, and the students who took advantage of that were really happy with it. So,
Okay. Well, thanks very much, and yeah, have a great afternoon.
thank you. Thanks for doing this, guys. This was fun.
Awesome.
That's a wrap for today's breakdown. If you have any thoughts or questions, drop us a comment or message us on social media. If you enjoyed today's chat, why not subscribe so you don't miss another episode? Thanks for tuning in. Stay charged out there.